I didn't know MrBeast had a brother. Never mind the fact that this brother had a YouTube channel, but apparently he did. He posted 30 videos on it, then he pee-poofed. He was gone from the platform, so let's find out why.
Mr. Bro,
right,
the
Sonny
brother
V2.
of MrBeast, did a pretty
See what you
good
got.
job of maintaining an average career monthly view count of between 1 and 4 million. However, he'd post a total of only 29 full-length videos before disappearing from the channel around 10 months ago.
He was called Mr. Bro?
When we take a quick glance over these 29 full-length videos, do we begin to notice the very first reason as to why CJ was unable to find success to the same degree that his brother had, being that the Mr. Bro videos were almost indistinguishable from MrBeast's, giving it this—
Alright, to be fair, it would be next to impossible to experience the same kind of level of quality that MrBeast and also the same kind of growth as MrBeast. He is an enigma. He is like a completely different thing on his own. No channel is like his channel, so you can't really compare him to anyone.
this feeling of off-brandedness as opposed to its own fresh project. The editing—
I'm sorry, he's so right. I just looked at this dude and I was like, is this like Aldi brand Chandler?
fresh project. The editing, ideas, and thumbnails were basically identical to MrBeast, whilst the crew, which included individuals such as Chandler's brother, didn't
Oh my god, it is Chandler's brother. Ah, I feel bad now.
exactly feel all that creative or nuanced. CJ equals Jimmy, Zach equals Chandler, Tyler equals Chris. Together, they are the budget MrBeast team. It was as if he was the exact same as MrBeast, while at the same time being the complete opposite. The reason for this will be explained during CJ's first major appearance on YouTube, in which Jimmy would explain the extent to which Mr. Bro was going to be guided by MrBeast.
You have 5 helpers, a warehouse, office space. You got a $100,000 starting budget.
2 pennies.
We're doing your thumbnails for you, and we're helping you think of content.
Aren't you editing?
He's doing his thumbnails for you. I actually think that's a bad thing. I don't think they should have let him do his thumbnails, because what they did is they created thumbnails that looked exactly like MrBeast thumbnails, which plays into the, oh, this is a B-Tech budget version of MrBeast. You can't expect us to be able to stand on your own when you literally have the exact same people making MrBeast thumbnails and your thumbnails, because your branding looks exactly the same. It just looks like it's off-brand.
Editing too.
I'm shouting you out and giving you over 1 million subscribers.
Now, it seemed like Jimmy was trying to teach his brother how to fish as opposed to giving him a fish, which was certainly the right approach in this scenario. The systems were set up for CJ in a way where he could achieve instant success whilst learning about YouTube in the process. The problem was that since CJ had absolutely no prior experience with YouTube, he wasn't really mixing these systems with his own pre-developed style or self-learned knowledge, and as a result was rather just replicating MrBeast's branding in its entirety, giving it somewhat of an inauthentic feeling.
You're just making the same videos, essentially. When it comes to starting new channels, and the thing that people ask me the most is when it comes to starting new channels is, oh, Patterrz, what should I do? Like, what content should I make? And I think a genuinely good piece of advice is to look at other content creators that you like, figure out what makes them tick, and try and replicate that, and then turn it into your own style as you go. If you just start and you have no baseline of what to go off of, you have no baseline of what could be successful, then you're just gonna flounder for a bit. But if you try and replicate, you try and yoink a little bit and twist a little bit, then essentially you're eventually gonna get your own style and evolve into your own career. But I think you need that baseline.
Jimmy's mindset with giving money away, being a philanthropist, doing all the great things that he does every single day to make a difference in people's lives. I have that same mindset, and I also want to do the same thing just like my brother.
Now, it's probably safe to say
That's the problem, is you want to do the same thing. I know what it's like with brothers because my brother is the same. Whenever I did something or whenever I tried to do something, he would copy me every single time. Even making a YouTube channel. My brother ended up making a YouTube channel, and I don't think he posts on it now, but he copied everything that I did because that's what siblings do. They copy each other.
done somewhat deliberately, so Mr. Bro could capitalize on MrBeast's existing brand, and in a lot of ways there was massive upside to this approach. We say that Mr. Bro quote unquote didn't succeed because we're comparing him—
I mean, yeah, he didn't succeed. He has 10 times the sub count that I have, and I've been posting on this channel for 12 years. There is a very, very high bar for this guy succeeding. It is ridiculous.
MrBeast. However, compared to any other new channel, his beginning was explosive. He did over 10 million views within his first 2 months on the platform. He'd cross over the 1 million subscriber mark prior to even that, and his continual ability to gain upwards of 1 million views per upload, even after the initial shout out, would have without a doubt been, at least in part, a result of him having the ability to replicate the MrBeast success formula almost in its entirety. Additionally, being so similar to Jimmy, meant he could market himself as MrBeast's brother with a similar profile picture and all, giving him a continual attachment to MrBeast's relevancy.
See, I also think that's another downfall. It's actually quite bad, that just plays into being a B-Tech version of MrBeast. And why would I watch the B-Tech version of MrBeast when I could just watch MrBeast instead? So you need to form your own personality. You need to be your own person at the end of the day.
However, it was clear that being so similar to MrBeast also put a bad taste in some of his audience's mouths, judging from this Reddit post with over 1,000 upvotes, which was titled, "Guess Mr. Bro is just straight up copying his brother now," written in what seemed to be somewhat of a negative tone.
Negative tone, bro, it's Reddit. There's never been anything on Reddit that wasn't written in a negative tone.
Being marketed as MrBeast's brother also had its own disadvantages. It's likely that many of Mr. Bro's views were coming from people clicking on the videos to see what a video by MrBeast's brother looks like, as opposed to clicking on the video for the title, thumbnail, and idea itself. While this is probably a huge advantage for Mr. Bro's click-through rate, if people were clicking on the videos to simply observe the differences and similarities
where you eat broccoli for a week and you get over 1 million views, you're still killing it, regardless.
The two brothers, there was no requirement to watch the full video. As a result, it's unlikely that CJ's watch time and audience retention was anything close to Jimmy's, which would have been a further disadvantage against CJ's channel.
Well, because I totally agree that the watch time would have been lower, I don't imagine this guy's probably used to being on camera. He's been thrown essentially into the deep end without any kind of prior training. That he's gonna be kind of awkward, and the videos are gonna be a little weird. I mean, even if you had like the best editors and the best producers in the world, you can't force someone to be an on-screen talent. You can't force someone to be comfortable in front of a camera, and that's gonna affect the watch time. That's gonna affect everything about it because it's just not as fun to watch as MrBeast's videos.
The sentiment of being too similar to MrBeast can be felt further when looking at the comments on the Gamer from Mars video from about a year ago, made on a similar topic to this one. He tried to promote himself as MrBeast's brother, not CJ. You cannot try to be a carbon copy of something when you're just not. As always, MrBeast's brother should just be himself. That isn't a surefire path to success, but it's important to the longevity of the channel. Simple answer, if I'm gonna watch MrBeast's content, I'm gonna watch it from MrBeast, not the great value version. He needs to do his own thing. The problem with these comments is that differentiating yourself from others is substantially easier said than done. It's a multi-year process. Every YouTuber goes through this. You begin by replicating someone you really like, which was where CJ was at. Then as time progresses, you discover your own nuances, try your own tricks, and develop your own style.
That's literally what I said at the start of the video. When you start, that's what you're supposed to do. But the thing is, he was immediately thrown into the deep end. He already has millions of viewers. People will form an opinion of him and then immediately decide not to come back because they've already formed that opinion. It is a lot less people are forming an opinion of you when you're a much smaller channel because there's not an audience there. But he's already losing potentially millions of people from an active viewer base because everyone already has the opinion that it's not worth watching because he's a B-Tech MrBeast.
However, CJ might have stopped uploading before getting to that point where he could shoot off in his own direction. But again, this goes back to the problem of being branded as MrBeast's brother. Can he even shoot off in his own direction if he needs to maintain that image? Additionally, is he going to be able to develop his own style if the editing, thumbnails, and ideas are all being done for him? Is he going to be able to formulate a baseline understanding of what does and doesn't work on the platform if he isn't learning everything himself from the ground up? This question highlights another point that's worth diving into, being that CJ never really got the opportunity to go through that rocky patch of developing an intuitive foundational understanding for why certain videos do and don't work, usually achieved through a bunch of early failure. Now, you could probably argue that this is somewhat unimportant because it can be taught, but only to a certain extent. You learn a little bit by someone else telling you about their failure or something they've learned, but you learn a whole lot more when you put an entire week's worth of work into something that you think will be a banger before uploading it for 100 views.
Yeah, he has the ability to upload anything and get 1 million views on it. If you're trying to be a good content creator, probably isn't very good because you need to have those failures to understand what does well.
He never went through the hard work from the years before you get popular, so he doesn't know what it's like. You have to start with the corny videos. Therefore, he's not getting enough views. The other problem with skipping this early rough patch is that you potentially fail to develop a deeply meaningful long-term story associated with the channel that you've built. In the case of MrBeast, for example, much of his strong public image and goodwill comes from the obvious vibe that he's been to hell and back in order to get to his current position.
Yeah, remember when MrBeast uploaded Pokemon videos? Remember when he did Pokemon Showdown? I remember when he did Pokemon Showdown. When he counted to like 1 million Logan Pauls. He watched every day, bro, for like a gorillion hours.
When Jimmy was 14 years old.
That's what people I like a lot about him, is he seems very genuine, like built from the ground up as like a YouTuber. Everybody on YouTube looks at MrBeast and he's like, oh yeah, he's our guy. Even though he has a massive studio now, the production values are off the chain, they're insane, but he's still like our guy because, you know, he grew up here.
In his room, editing his videos super late at night of Minecraft. literally just to post it and get maybe 100, 200 views.
His 10 plus years worth of experience radiates from every fiber in his being, adding this indescribable flavor of confidence to his videos. CJ or Mr. Bro, on the other hand, even with a similar success formula to MrBeast, still gives off the energy that he's a bit of a newbie. His lack—
Because he is. You can't pretend, you can't project confidence if you just don't have it. He doesn't have the experience. MrBeast literally knows what he's doing by this point, so he's being very confident on camera. But again, you can't be confident on camera if you're literally not confident on camera.
Through, and it can be felt by the audience. CJ just needs to have more confidence in his creativity and how he directs the videos. When you watch MrBeast, he's very likable and entertaining because he always has a plan and knows how to keep things rolling. CJ understandably looks a little uncomfortable, so he doesn't seem to have full enough control of his content. The other problem associated with not developing a meaningful long-term story is that there's probably minimal emotional connection to the channel, making it pretty simple to quit out of the blue without feeling as though you're giving up on multiple years of hard work. There are—
Like I said, he's losing the opportunity of millions of viewers because he's still in that learning phase and that teething phase of trying to figure out what exactly he wants to be and what he is. And then so many people are forming the opinion that I don't need to be subscribed to this channel, I don't need to care about this channel, and leaving. Whereas for a new channel, that wouldn't be the case.
There are so many YouTubers who are no longer achieving the same level of success as they were in their prime, yet continue to—
Dude, SunnyV2 has so many videos that just have a downward graph. This is the most depressing channel on the internet.
Upload videos to a dwindling audience, presumably because it's extremely hard to walk away from a project or brand that you've invested years of time into. Meanwhile, CJ seemed to have the opposite experience of this. There was a total of only 1 year and 9 months between his first and last upload, which might not have been enough time to cement his identity as a YouTuber, resulting in minimal downside or regret if he were to remove himself from the platform.
And you just—
Yeah, I feel like if you're literally getting millions of views a video and then you just pee poof and you're gone, then you probably didn't care that much.
Work.
Even though he's probably making a ton of money, he's probably set for life now, to be honest.
like hell, to be honest, for 10 years. Like, there's probably a good chance you'll make it. But if you do that over the course of 6 months or a year, I don't know. You know?
This also highlights that maybe CJ was never actually making videos because he enjoyed the content creation process. Maybe he'd simply seen MrBeast's insane level of success and was subsequently too focused on the potential rewards, whilst the required level of natural motivation never really existed in the first place. Yeah, he sees his brother's success and wants to be just as successful. Problem is, he can't come up with his own content, so he just looks bad. I try to—
If you genuinely want to be a YouTuber, he probably would have started YouTubing beforehand if he genuinely wanted to be a YouTuber. And if you genuinely want to do it, then you kind of come up with things by yourself. You'll figure out a way to make things work, even if it is a little hard sometimes.
watch him to support him despite not liking his stuff, but I really can't. It's a waste of my time to try. Sorry if that's harsh, but it's my honest opinion. Mr. Bro is not his brother. We could go deeper and say that maybe he did want to be a YouTuber, yet the type of videos that he was making weren't really what CJ wanted to make authentically. However, he had no option but to make the videos he was making, as he was replicating MrBeast's formula and wasn't following his own genuine curiosity or genre that he enjoyed. MrBeast is—
See, I don't feel like he would have had to just straight up copied and pasted what MrBeast did. If Jimmy gave his brother a shout out, he could have posted whatever he wanted and it would have been successful. So he literally could have gone through that teething phase while also getting a lot of views and doing the things that he wanted to do rather than copying his brother. I don't think that was necessary a part of this. So if he didn't want to, he didn't have to.
Is often seen discussing the importance of video ideas, stating that if anyone were to apply his viral ideas to their own channel, they would go viral as well.
Obviously, a lot of it is just in the ideas. Like anyone, if they did this, it would have gone viral. Yeah.
So if anything, at least Mr. Bro was an interesting experiment to see how viral you can make a brand new channel go if it was set up for success by one of YouTube's greatest creators. Plus, there's really nothing stopping CJ from coming back and continuing on from where he left off if he—
MrBeast set up this channel for success, and to be fair, Mr. Bro had some pretty good video ideas. I had some pretty interesting ideas. So it just goes to show that if you have a really good idea and you can execute it in a way that keeps people interested, literally anybody can blow up. Even you! Anyway, subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching.